Then, just as the Count began to sense some risk of riot, a suggestion came from a shy-looking lad in the 10th row that perhaps, to facilitate, could be replaced with to enable and ensure. This pairing, the lad explained, while his cheeks grew red as a raspberry, might encompass not only the laying of rails and the manning of engines, but the ongoing maintenance of the system. Yes, that's it. Laying, manning, and maintenance. To enable and ensure. With hearty applause from every corner, the lad's proposal seemed to be barrelling toward adoption as quickly and dependably as one of the Union's locomotives barrels across the steppe. But just as it was nearing its terminus, a rather scrawny fellow in the 2nd row stood. Such a wisp of a man was he that one wondered how he had secured a position in the Union in the first place. Once he had the attention of the room, this back-office clerk or accountant, this all-Russian pusher of pencils, asserted in a voice as tepid and prim as the word facilitate, "Poetic concision demands the avoidance of a pair of words when a single word will suffice." "What's that?" "What did he say?" Several stood up with the intention of grabbing him by the collar and dragging him from the room. But before they could get their hands on him, a burly fellow in the 5th row spoke without rising to his feet. "With all due respect to poetic concision, the male of the species was endowed with a pair when a single might have sufficed." Thunderous applause. The resolution to replace facilitate with enable and ensure was adopted by a unanimous show of hands and a universal stomping of feet, while in the balcony a private acknowledgment was made that perhaps political discourse wasn't always so dull after all. At the conclusion of the assembly, when the Count and Nina had crawled off the balcony and back into the hallway, the Count felt quite pleased with himself. He felt pleased with his little parallels between the respect-payers, back-patters, and latecomers of the present and those of the past. He also had a whole host of entertaining alternatives to the phrase enable and ensure, ranging from bustle and trundle to carom and careen. And when Nina inevitably asked what he thought of the day's debate, he was going to reply that it was positively Shakespearean. Shakespearean, that is, in the manner of Dogberry in Much Ado About Nothing. Much ado about nothing indeed. Or so the Count intended to quip. But by a stroke of luck, he didn't get the chance. For when Nina asked what he thought of the assembly, unable to wait even a moment for his impressions, she barreled ahead with her own. "Wasn't that fascinating? Wasn't it fantastic? Have you ever been on a train?" "The train is my preferred means of travel," said the Count, somewhat startled. She nodded enthusiastically. "Mine as well. And when you have travelled by train, have you watched the landscape rolling past the windows and listened to the conversations of your fellow passengers and drifted off to the clacking of the wheels?" "I have done all of those things." "Exactly. But have you ever, for even one moment, considered how the coal finds its way into the locomotive's engine? Have you considered, in the middle of a forest or on a rocky slope, how the tracks came to be there in the first place?" The Count paused, considered, imagined, admitted. "Never." She gave him a knowing look. "Isn't it astounding?" And when seen in that light, who could disagree?